Yo, what's up, Blackish fam? I hope all is well in your corner of the world. Man, really excited now. We're going to get into another Aesop rock song, Hot Dogs. I came across it, that and one called Corn Maze. And I was like, you know what? I got to check these out. I think someone suggested Corn Maze, but Hot Dog I just kind of randomly found here. I mean, how do you not react to a song called Hot Dog? I'm hoping it's something like Kirby. It's just, yeah, just something that pretty straightforward. He just wanted to talk about. I just love that. It's just simply it's about his cat, nothing more, nothing less. But really excited to continue this dive into Aesop Rock's music. And just a disclaimer: everything that we break down, I think one of our subscribers said it best, where looking for a place where we can kind of chew on lyrics together. I don't know if this is exactly his meaning, but I hopefully can add some insight. This is what it means to me. Most of the songs that we hear, they're all reactions. I don't know Aesop Rock's catalog. I actually just got into him on this channel because somebody recommended that we get into him, just like we got into MF Doom or Marlon Craft or Ciroc or Toby Wigway. So definitely much more underground artists, but we look for the lyrically dense artists. So if you guys are fans of the breakdown and hopefully we bring some insight to his music, show some love by liking the video or subscribing to the channel. We continue diving into Aesop Rock and going backwards in his catalog. So here we go. Without further ado, let's get right into this is Hot Dogs. And this is a lyric video, and I think you guys all know how that could go. I've been sent off, if you would, by missing verses or just the lyrics not on point. So hopefully this one's good. This is one from Music Lyrics. I don't know. This should be a red flag. There's only 432 subscribers on their channel. This isn't ours, but this is their lyric video. So hopefully it's good. Let's check it out.
Because we're so excited, we don't know what to do.
Okay, so it sounds like a
about to
movie clip.
The level above human.
I couldn't have had a better life than I've had these 21 years. And if it was good here, I know it's going to be twice as good when you get up there.
Talking about heaven?
This isn't a troubling circumstance. Don't take it as that. It's just a gateway, just a doorway.
What we're doing is we're going home. We're going home to those individuals who sent us here to do this task. And this is the happiest and joyous thing that you can...
Oh, is that the beat? What was that, though? It sounds familiar. Are they talking about some sort of Buddhism?
Re-enter the level above human.
I couldn't have had a better life than I've had these 21
Oh,
years. And if it was good here, I know
this
it's
is
gonna be
that
twice-
psycho group. What was their name? Not Waco, Texas. This is that group.
We're
What was their
about
name?
to re-enter the level above human.
I couldn't have had
The
a
level
better life
above
than
humans. They
these
were
21 years.
Heaven's
And
Gate.
if it
No.
was good here, I know it's going to be twice
What
as
was
good
that one
when
in
you
Waco
get up
called?
This isn't a troubling circumstance.
It might be
Don't take it as
Heaven's.
that. It's just a gateway, just a doorway.
What we're doing is we're going home. We're going home to those individuals who sent us here to do this task. And this is the happiest...
That's definitely Heaven's Gate. So Heaven's Gate, what's the best way to? It's very similar to what happened in Waco, Texas, or in Jonestown, right? The whole Jim Jones thing. Heaven's Gate. It was this group, and I believe that the central belief of the group was that they could transform themselves. Right? They were like they were more than immortal, but they were like not from this planet. They were like I guess alien, right? They're like they were aliens, but for some reason they were rejected by humans, right? So they were trying to ascend to something called the next level. Actually, it did not end too well for this group. They thought they were gonna be taken up by a UFO, and I don't really remember what happened, but they thought that somehow when the planets aligned, that they weren't going to, that they were going to be the closest that they've ever been to that. I don't know if it was heaven or like the planet that they were from. Basically, these guys all they did a mass suicide. All these people, they all eventually died. And it's kind of unfortunate because these are probably troubled people. It's so easy to manipulate people. And we see it in our history time after time again. With what happened in Waco, what happened in Jonestown. Look at some of these Mormon camps or Scientology. I mean, we can go on and on about people getting manipulated. People want to believe something that makes sense. They want to understand that there's something bigger than themselves, right? Ooh, this is going to be good. I'm over here thinking it's just about hot dogs. Kind of. Is that the beat? Very jazz-like, right? Very offbeat. Intentionally, though. What does that beat count? Oh, I don't think we've ever heard something like this from him. At least I haven't.
Alright. Raised on dirty hot dog water and popcorn butter. EPMD telling me every pop star a sucker.
Yeah.
Don't let him smell the Potstickers. He'll stick around for supper.
Sounds like he's talking about back in the day. This "Don't let him smell the Potstickers. He'll stick around for supper" reminds me of that the stovetop commercial, right? Where the little kid always wants to spend the night because they're gonna have stovetop stuffing for dinner. It was popular in the early '90s. But let's go back. Sounds like he's definitely talking about his past, right? He said, "I raised on dirty hot dog water and popcorn butter." This is like the equivalent to somebody my age saying, "Man, when I was your age, we used to drink on the hose," right? And it is true, though. These are like the good old days, right? Dirty hot dog water and popcorn butter. Sounds like he's talking about, your average childhood. I was from Chicago. That's how I was raised. He's basically saying cheap food and TV, right? Or movie nights or blockbuster nights. When you don't have much food, there's a lot of ramen. A lot of people call it soup, or in Spanish households, they say sopita. But that's ramen, right? That's you can do a lot with ramen, man. I've seen people made full course meals, make it look like spaghetti or whatnot, and hot dogs too. Chop up the hot dogs, put it with some macaroni, and people will serve that at a party, right? So it sounds like he's talking about early childhood. It would be my best guess. EPMD is around the same time as that. We were referencing the stovetop commercial. I don't think they're specifically talking about stovetop, but something similar. EPMD, they used to, it's an old hip hop group. This is, man, I got to say early 90s, because when I was up and coming, I was born in 82. So 92, I was 10. I want to say they broke up before I graduated 8th grade, which was in 96. So this is old school. EPMD is an old hip hop group that used to really talk smack about pop stars in the music industry, calling them all suckers, right? This is, what is EPMD? It's Eric Sermon, right? And the PMD was for the other half of the group. I think it was Parish Making Dollars. I don't really remember. There was another name that Old Boy had. I think it was like Smith McDock, right? It was something like, actually Parish McDock or Parish McSmith. But anyway, that was, it's Eric Sermon and this other cat. And they collectively, they were EPMD, and they had one or two DJs. But this was a long time ago. Let's let it ride here. I love that beat. Ooh. Excited for the type of flow he could bring to this.
Raised on dirty hot dog water and popcorn butter. EPMD telling me every pop star a sucker. Don't let him smell the Potstickers. He'll stick around for supper.
And just, I was bringing up Stovetop because I believe that it sounds very similar, but that's not what a pot sticker is. A pot sticker is like a dumpling, if you would, right? You could fill it with pork, or depending on where you're from, vegetables, right? But it's something that's dumpling-esque.
Star a sucker. Don't let him smell the Potstickers. He'll stick around for supper. He'll stick around for cheesecake, then 3 days days, then the summer.
This is talking about old school friends, right? Old school friends, they're, it's like, best friends growing up, right? You want to, again, like the kid who wants to stay over and spend nights, right? Sleepovers. He'll stay for the Potstickers or your stovetop, whatever it might be. Then the cheesecake, then 3 days, and before you know it, he's spending nights and weekends, and he's not necessarily freeloading, but it was a different time back then where that was acceptable. It was just a quick phone call to mom to really understand if that's something that you wanted to get into. A quick phone call to mom, say, hey, can my buddy spend the night? Or, hey, can my buddy this? But it wasn't as uncommon as it is now. So hey, let's let it ride a bit here. Let's run it back here a bit. I just want to hear it from the beginning and make sure I'm not missing anything here.
We're so excited we don't know what to do because we're about to re-enter the level above human.
I couldn't have had a better life than I've had these 21 years. And if it was good here, I know it's been twice as good when I get up there.
This isn't a troubling circumstance. Don't take this as just a gateway, just a doorway.
What we're doing is we're going home. We're going home.
Yeah, that's definitely their group.
Who sent us here to do this task, and this is the happiest and joyous thing that you can.
I had to let it ride from the beginning. One, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I really like this beat. It didn't seem that long last time.
Alright. Raised on 30 hot dog water and popcorn butter. EPMD telling me every pop star a sucker. Don't let him smell the Potstickers. He'll stick around for supper. He'll stick around for cheesecake, then 3 days, then the summer. Where spiders eat their mothers, where rodents eat their young. I'm not here to make sense where there is none. That's dumb.
Now, that's funny. I guess that kind of happens. There are spiders that, there's spiders that eat their young. I don't know about their mothers. Or rodents eat their young. That can happen. But maybe there is nothing to it. He said, I'm not trying to make sense where there is none. Let me know if you guys get the reference, if he's saying anything else there.
I'm not here to make sense where there is
He's saying, not here to make sense.
My attitude is ghastly, any gallantry been going gone. I think I'm probably a lot like dating Mola Ram.
Who remembers Mola Ram? That's Indiana Jones, old hunting for crystal skulls or whatever. But I like where he says, here, let's bring it back.
That's dumb. My attitude is ghastly, any gallantry been going gone.
If you guys, just for the help with the breakdown, for those that maybe English isn't their first language, or maybe they just to help with the breakdown, ghastly, people don't use it too much, but it's more of, it's something that's very unpleasant. Actually, since he compared himself to Mola Ram, that's extreme, but I guess it's a bit frightening, right? Ghastly. It's more shocking, if you would, shocking and frightening. I kind of envision like a jump scare almost, old Five Nights at Freddy's face, right? Gallantry is as bravery, I guess. You could use it like that. It's like, like a war soldier, or I guess some people can consider it like, what do you call it? Like, maybe heroism. I don't know. It's a little different than that. It's more being like a brave, machismo kind of deal. But let's let it ride.
That's dumb. My attitude is ghastly, any gallantry been going gone. I think I'm probably a lot like dating Mola Ram. I should work on that.
He's saying he's not, there's no more chivalry, right? He's saying that he's a prick. He's prickish now, if you would. It kind of reminds me of Drake's song. Right, what did Drake say? Is it enemy? I got enemies. I got enemies. Got a lot of enemies. Blah, blah, blah. Energy is the name of the song by Drake. But he says, I got rap niggas that I gotta act like I like, but my acting days are over. Fuck, it's for life, right? But yo, that's sounds like he's kind of going there. That he's a prick, right? And again, Mola Ram, that's a character from old Indiana Jones. This dude is like sadistic, but he's cruel, right? He worships this Hindu god. Her name is like Mali, I believe, and he's willing to die for her, right? He's sacrificing innocent people. He's torturing people, and he's looking for these. I think the Sankar stones, if it's not the crystal skulls. But it's like one of those scenarios where here's 2 of them, the other one's in Peru, and we put these all 5 together, and this vortex comes, and I could bring up the Bride of Chucky. It's some variation of that. But he's a dude in that.
I'm probably a lot like dating Mola Ram. I should work on that.
A prick with a bad attitude.
I'm a leader, I'm a loner. Lover, believer, upholder of the under.
Ooh, I wonder if he means the underworld or just the underdog, right? Because he kind of always gives off this, I'm lonely, I like isolation. I could see him definitely always rooting for the underdog. He said geezer. Geezer is just one of those words that you don't hear about it anymore. It comes from another word. I believe it's very similar to geezer, but it's basically someone who performs in a costume, like a guise, which is where the word comes from. Like if you're in a Brazilian street parade, right, a Mardi Gras or something. So geezer originally it was just a term for a man. It was kind of like, hey, you old chap, right? Oh, hey, this fella. It's kind of like the modern equivalent to bruh or dude or guy. But it's now, it's funny because it's only like this in the U.S. as opposed to other places in the world. It's kind of a dismissive way. It's dismissive towards like an old person, right? Old geezer, like that. Hey, Shunny, you damn loud kids, right? Get off my lawn. You're making too much noise. Your baseball's over my fence, right? That's kind of what a geezer means out here, but very different in other parts of the world.
Mola Ram, I should work on that. The geezer, not a leader, I'm a loner. Lover, believer, upholder of the under. Just not a people person. Please forgive me if I'm flustered. I'll save 1,000 whales before your grits are even buttered.
Woo! I'll save 1,000 whales before your grit is even buttered. Like, bro, I've been doing this since before you were born, bro. I've been out here saving the earth and doing all this stuff before you even knew there was hype behind it, right? That's like a lot of what's going on, in the world today after all this political unrest, right? You have these kind of overnight activists, right? And it's kind of funny because, I'm from Chicago, and I've had people. I used to drive this Cadillac Escalade, and I was driving into Chicago, and there were people laid out on the expressway, going up to cars and stuff. It's like these overnight activists. And I'm like, bro, are you really? First of all, for those that don't know me, I'm black and Mexican. My mom is black. My dad was Mexican. Not really involved with me. I was raised by my mom and my uncle, right? I consider myself multiracial. So it's like, bro, you're protesting to me. I've been trying to speak positivity to the hood. I'm not from the suburbs. I'm from the inner city of Chicago. And to have an overnight activist trying to tell me some shit about the way I'm living my life, judging me because I was driving an Escalade at the time. It's like, bro, I could have used the same line on him, right? I should have told him, bro, I have to save 1,000 whales before your grits were buttered, bro. He would have been like, right? But that's just a sick-ass way of professionally treating somebody and putting them in their place. Like, yo, bro, I've been doing this. You're brand new, buddy. Slow down.
Just not a people person. Please forgive me if I'm flustered. I'll save 1,000 whales before your grits are even buttered. My name is Aesop. I've been a mess for my entire life. All I know is fight or flight. What the fuck's a silent night?
Ooh, yo, I love that. That's sick. I hear what he said. All I know is fight or flight, right? But even before that, he said, yo, my life is a mess, bro. I've been a mess my whole life. The term fight or flight, I think most people recognize, they know what it means, but it's more something that represented the choices for our ancient ancestors, right? When they dealt with danger in their environment, they had to make a decision. Is this something, do I have a chance to fight or do I flee, right? Either way, your body has these physiological changes, right? There's a psychological change. How your body responds to stress is really what happens, how your body reacts to danger. And that's really where that comes from. Most people use it today a bit differently, but originally that term was meant for what our ancient ancestors had to deal with. But yes, of course, it applies to modern day scenarios. There's always a fight or flight scenario, right? You could even use it as a metaphor 1,000 ways.
Buttered. My name is Aesop Rock. I've been a mess for my entire life.
I love how he said that because it just brought up, like, man, I just had that old school hip hop vibe. Like, yo, my name is B. I'm on the mic making bitches flee. Yo, they tried to bite, right? Like, just old school where you're just kicking it, where you just come in like, yo, my name is Aesop Rock, right? I love that. I actually saw in with some interview they did with him where he said Aesop was a character that he played in like some local play or so. And then his people knew him because of that name. And then he started using rock in like some of his freestyles. And it just kind of stuck. I think that, let me know if you guys know otherwise. But I thought that was so interesting. But it kind of is reminiscent of old hip hop, like where you just come in and you spit your name.
I've been a mess for my entire life. All I know is fight or flight. What the fuck's a silent night?
I don't know.
Who the fuck are you to tell me who the fuck you even are?
Ooh.
This is more than band-aids over itsy bitsy bleeding hearts.
Kind of reminds me of the first image I had was, don't break my heart, my achy breaky heart. I guess don't think you understand. I don't know why I got a lasso all of a sudden, but, Billy Ray Cyrus, right? But I don't think that's what he's referencing. I think, if anything, by him saying your itsy bitsy bleeding heart, he's connecting it with spiders, right? And what did he say about them eating their mom or so? A verse back, the itsy bitsy spider went up. So I think that's kind of where he is with it. But I love how he says, what did he say? He said, who the fuck are you to tell me who the fuck you even are? Like, who the fuck makes you think I give a fuck and want to be fucking friends, motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just love that. Like, he's like, yo, I'm going to own this being a prick. But it's also like, God damn it. I swear, it's always somebody trying to bother me during the day. Like, bro, I need one of those on-air signs. I am going to wall off this room, though. But, yo, let's run it back. Somebody threw me out of my groove. I had to take a minute off to take a call here.
Fuck's a silent night. Who the fuck are you to tell me who the fuck you even are? This is more than band-aids over itsy bitsy bleeding hearts. This is GNR announcing Jesus Christ on lead guitar.
It's like Guns N' Roses, right?
This is GNR announcing Jesus Christ on lead guitar. Finding Heather Hunter still inside her college.
I don't know if you guys know who Heather Hunter is. She's an old school porn legend. She used to go by the name Double H, not Double D, Double H. But it's old school. I did what you could do because he's talking about your college VCR. I don't know how old he is. I think he's upper 30s, if I'm not mistaken. But, like me, college days were 2000 to 2004. People still had VCRs and DVD players. DVD was definitely the go-to, but it wasn't uncommon to have both, right? Or those so yeah, people would have old school porn movies still. They were still lingering. It's not like it is today. If you got a porn video, you're just a creep, right? Because you're doing something in some old black and white movie player. I don't know, man. So
Jesus Christ on lead guitar. Finding Heather Hunter still inside your college VCR. Mirror, mirror on the wall. I feel like a fucking dog. This depraved is not a product of a loving God.
Ooh, that's deep. Mirror, mirror on the wall That's a Snow White reference. The reference is brought up a lot. A lot of the more common, the younger generation probably knows it from TikTok, not just from Snow White, but it's also heavily discussed with the Mandela effect. Because the phrase is, for a lot of people, they remember mirror, mirror on the wall, right? Who's the fairest of them all? That's what I remember as well. But supposedly it's very different. And in Snow White, it's actually magic mirror on the wall. Even though most people remember mirror, mirror on the wall. It's kind of weird because in this case, it's kind of both. Because in this was actually a book before it was a movie. In the book, it's actually mirror, mirror on the wall. I believe the old Disney Snow White film says magic mirror on the wall. But then when they remade the movie, they used mirror, mirror on the wall. So it's not uncommon. I think most people hear mirror, mirror as the reference. So it comes up a lot with the Mandela effect. I don't think that's what Aesop Rock is getting to here. Just kind of weird trivia. He said he feels like a fucking dog, though.
Inside your college VCR, mirror, mirror on the wall, I feel like a fucking dog.
And just so you guys know the whole reference, right? The mirror, mirror on the wall, it's like the mirror is supposed to be reflecting back to us, like an interpretation, right? So they're using it because she's saying, who's the fairest of them all? And she wants it to say her, but it says somebody else, which gets her upset, which causes the whole movie, right? That's normally how it goes. But there's also, there's something about dimensions and time and space. People tend to see and hear what they want to see and hear. So you can interpret the mirror, mirror a bunch of different ways. But, is it a reflection of yourself? Is it, so there's a lot of ways that we can interpret it. We got to kind of listen to it as a whole for context first, I think.
Jesus Christ on lead guitar, finding Heather Hunter still inside your college VCR, mirror, mirror on the wall, I feel like a fucking dog. Something this depraved is not a product of a loving God.
I say that's a lot too. It's that something this depraved isn't part, it's not a product, I think he said. So it's not made by a loving God. Depraved, it's like you're wicked, right? You're corrupt. You're a bad person. So it's kind of saying like some people might ask too when you see bad things happen, right? If you're an all-knowing, all-powerful God, why do you make killers? Why do you make rapists? Why do you make people suffer? Which I think is a fair question if the church is spewing that this is an all-perfect God, right? It doesn't seem like some of these outcomes are perfect. So most people, I've asked this question when I experienced or tried to explore Christianity, and it sounds like their best answer, and I'm pretty much agnostic, if you would, same as Aesop. I don't believe that the existence of God can be proven. And I think it's something where, yeah, like most people say, you would have to have faith. But when you ask a Christian, they normally bring it to free will, right? They say, the feeling that you get when, that you want to kill someone, right? Or that you just ignore that inside of you. Well, there's some people that can't ignore that part of them. And that's where their free will takes over. That's how they kind of explain it. I don't know. I've never really bought that answer. It just doesn't sound like God has complete control. If there is a God, an all-knowing, all-powerful God, sounds like he lets some really effed up things happen. The whole reason is why, right? What would be the purpose? But we can go on forever. Let's keep it to the song here.
This is more than band-aids over itsy bitsy bleeding hearts. This is GNR announcing Jesus Christ on lead guitar, finding Heather Hunter still inside your college VCR, mirror, mirror on the wall, I feel like a fucking dog. Something this depraved is not a product of a loving God. Periwinkle Pegasus throw rat-infested Lego bricks, hug his mother briefly.
Periwinkle Pegasus through rat-infested Lego bricks. Is that like the bricks to your house breaking through your wall? Periwinkle Pegasus. Periwinkle is the name. It's more associated with the color of the flower, but I guess it's the name of the flower as well. So it sounds like that's where he's getting to, because periwinkle is normally associated with like unicorns or like something mystical. It's like the pinks and the purple. So periwinkle Pegasus. Pegasus is something different. And it actually goes back to Greek mythology, but a Pegasus carries the bolts for Zeus, the lightning bolts that he has. That's where Pegasus comes in, but that's also like a horse or a unicorn, which would be associated with the color. So just a really interesting way, but let's let it ride for context here.
Something that's depraved is not a product of a loving God. Periwinkle Pegasus threw rat-infested Lego bricks. Hug his mother briefly, then we're off to see The Exorcist.
Ooh.
I will not be checking messages. Why should I be? Special is as special does. You aren't special just because. Yes, your mother said you was. That's pretty much what mothers does. Someday I might find a Pluck to said you was. That's pretty much.
It reminds me of a water boy. Mama always said I can't play no foosball, right? Mama always said I was special. Like, yeah, he's special ed, motherfucker. That sounds like exactly what he's getting at, right?
I will not be checking
The mama's boy.
Why should I be? Special is as special does. You aren't special.
It also reminds me of what's that in Forrest Gump, right? Not special, but I think he said it as stupid, and that's kind of how you hear it, right? It's stupid is as stupid does, meaning that a person should be judged by their actions, not just by their appearance, right? It actually goes. I believe the original meaning is pretty is as pretty does, meaning that you should be pretty on the outside as well as the inside. But that kind of reminds me of Forrest Gump.
I will not be checking messages. Why should I be? Special is as special does. You aren't special just because. Yes, your mother said you was. That's pretty much what mothers does.
Yeah, it's like we tell the kids, you're special and unique, just like everyone else, right? So it's kind of just a play on words there. Like, yeah, you know, here's your unique number and your unique chance to win, and here's everybody else's unique number and a unique chance to win. You know, it still could be it's just a play on words.
Just because. Yes, your mother said you was. That's pretty much what mothers does. Someday I might find a Pluck to roam the earth with 0 strings. Cut the tether, float this feather over eastern seaboard winds forever. Like Seaboard Kings and
Yo, I love that.
float this feather over eastern sea.
Yeah, kind of sounds, and I think it could go that way, but I don't think he's talking about suicide. It could kind of read like that, right? Sometime I might find a Pluck, and I'm thinking like give a fuck, right? Is what I'm thinking. To roam the earth with 0 strings. It kind of sounds like you're a ghost, right? You're a spirit. You're back to energy.
Roam the earth with 0 strings. Cut the tether.
Cut the tether, maybe like, cut his tether to the world and just float, right? Like a ghost would. But there could be a play on words because, he says, float over eastern seaboard winds forever. So it sounds like he's talking about taking a ship, right? Getting away from it all, cutting his tether for the world and floating because he's in a boat and going up and down off the eastern sea. That's the Atlantic Ocean, right? But let's let it run it back here.
Just because. Yes, your mother said you was. That's pretty much what mothers does. Someday I might find a Pluck to roam.
And he also talks about feathers and pluck, he says here, right? Someday I might find a Pluck. It's important when we think of symbolism, right? Any feather can be thought of as a sign, right? There's a meaning most people would say if you find a feather in an unusual place, or you have one suddenly float across you, that it's normally referred to as a sign from an angel or a loved one or someone that's passed away and is on the other side. It's very common. Most people probably know the phrase, feathers appear when angels are near, right? So it almost seemed like there's a play there where he wants you to think he might decide to one day end his life and, again, simply be in spirit form, and literally just get away from it all. But again, I think the reference with the eastern seaboard, I think he's talking about the Atlantic seaboard, right off the east coast of the U.S. You're talking about like Maine all the way down to Florida in the south, right? It sounds like he's talking about just riding the wind, and getting away from it, just being on a ship or so. I don't know if he owns a boat or has a buddy with a boat, but it sounds like that's where he's getting at.
That's pretty much what mothers does. Someday I might find a pluck to roam the earth with 0 strings. Cut the tether, float this feather over eastern seaboard winds forever. Like Seaboard Kings invested in the froth and fog, they'll...
Yeah, it definitely sounds like he's referring to sailors now, right? He's talking about Seaboard Kings. I don't know, invested in the froth and fog. Obviously it could be a play on words with froth and fog, but it sounds like he's a seaman, not, no pun intended, but not seaman, but it sounds like he's talking about being a sailor.
Seaboard wins forever, like Seaboard Kings invested in the froth and fog. They'll talk of his adventuring and call him things like salty dog.
Yeah, salty dog. He's definitely talking about sailor.
They'll talk of his adventuring and call him things like salty dog.
Right, salty dog. That's a nickname, and it's normally referred to for sailors or a U.S. Marine. Think of words like jarhead, and they made a whole movie based on that, right? But a salty dog, it's somebody who's spent their life really at sea. At least that's the meaning that I know. But he's definitely talking about sailing.
Eastern seaboard wins forever, like Seaboard Kings invested in the froth and fog. They'll talk of his adventuring and call him things like salty dog.
He said he feels like a dog earlier, right? When he was looking in the mirror, mirror on the wall. So
they'll talk of his adventuring and call him things like salty dog. He freed like a bajillion prisoners from some secret haunted vault. Always had an elder puff. Never yelled, get off my lawn.
Yo, we were just talking about that, right? Hey, sonny, get off my lawn, right? The old man. That's funny.
Prisoners from some secret haunted vault.
He said, always had a...
Never yelled, get off my lawn. Full disclosure, I don't even have a lawn. If I did, I'd probably grow the grass until the house was gone.
Woo!
Kick it to the top, forget the address or the house at all.
Yo.
This is how performance art exacerbates an albatross. I said maybe...
An albatross. That's a seabird, so he's tying it in with the sea coast. But they're known for having a huge wingspan. We heard him reference this in another song, too.
House was gone. Kick it to the town, forget the address or the house at all. This is how performance art exacerbates an albatross. I should maybe shake some hands. I should turn the music down. Have some people over without asking them to move a couch. But since you're here, I've got this awful futon I could do without. Should take like 2 seconds.
Yeah, come on, help me out with this real quick, bro. Nice, that's it? I kind of wanted more. Well, hopefully I was able to help with the interpretation. It's I kind of like this. It's very different from the Garbology album, it seems. It's really interesting because we started out with Mystery Fish, Kirby, Pizza Alley, and I think we jumped right into Garbology and knocked out most of those. And then now we're kind of jumping around based on suggestions that people leave in the comment section. And man, it seems like his albums have just a different vibe completely. In some places, man, they are unusually dark. I just didn't expect that at all. But just really interesting. I love his references. The references and the way he writes is just beautiful. But yeah, there's so many ways that you could interpret some of these things that I think that's kind of not just the point, but I think it's almost intentional, just like wordplay, where it's like a choose your own adventure story, right? Just really interesting. I like this one. I'm going to get right into another one that I have pulled up here, and I just thought it was really cool. And then we're going to get into some idea. You get a lot of people have told me a lot about his freestyle capabilities, and he was on that Bet Life that we did. So I want to definitely check that out and just kind of dig into a little bit of his work and see if it's something that might be fun to do a breakdown on. But yeah, really exciting. If you guys are fans of Aesop Rock, you're a fan of going through his catalog and really just giving my opinion as to what I think the breakdown means, helping to break down some vocabulary. And, hopefully we can, as somebody in the comment section said, yo, I've been looking for something like this where we can just kind of chew on the lyrics. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because I just want to kind of bounce ideas off each other, and we can hopefully kind of come to terms where he might be going with some of this. I also really like the help with some of you guys that are just been listening to him for years or decades, right? And you guys know the inside and outs. And they're like, oh, he's referencing this song. It's like, oh, I never heard that song. But best believe we're going to continue going through his catalog and just getting into some of the more lyrically dense stuff. But with Aesop, man, it seems like we can choose just about anything. I have yet to be disappointed. And I'm really impressed by a lot of the beats as well. So we're going to continue on this adventure as we continue checking out new artists as well. Hopefully you guys like the breakdown, and we'll see you on the next video.